In this video, I will walk you through the pothole repair process that is triggered when a pothole is identified by a customer. This is a customer-centric workflow, which means the process can be entirely automated, in which the only human contact is by the customer and a works team. The process you will be shown is made possible by Counterpart Solutions' SmaartCouncil product. This product is a configuration and integration of out-of-the-box Oracle systems, designed, architected, and created specifically to cater for council requirements. First, you will see the perspective of the customer when lodging a service request. Secondly, the work packager or dispatcher's perspective in the event they do have to interact with the system. Thirdly, the work crew's perspective when completing the job. And finally, the customer perspective when they are informed of the completion of the works. So let's get started. A customer service request is raised for a pothole repair in Oracle Customer Management, or CX, and generates a case for action. The case automatically creates a service request that is automatically integrated to Oracle Works and Asset Management, or WAM. The WAM service request uses a work template which is automatically selected in accordance with the information held against the service request, and a work order is generated. That template drives the labor requirements, materials requirements, and equipment requirements for that work, and then gets packaged up as work activities within a work order for delivery, all automatically. The work activities within the work order are then scheduled and assigned to a field crew for delivery. The field crew then completes the pothole repair. When the works are completed, the information captured by the field crew is integrated back into WAM, where the service request is closed. This information is also integrated automatically from WAM back into CX, and the case is then closed. And the customer is automatically informed by their preferred method of communication. Let's start with the first step in this end-to-end process, the customer perspective within Oracle's CX system. Oracle CX is a powerful tool that allows a customer to interact seamlessly and effectively with a council. In this scenario, you'll see how the customer can conveniently submit a service request to the council after finding a potentially dangerous pothole on a council-owned and maintained road. This is all made possible by CX's Intelligent Advisor component, guiding the customer through an easy-to-follow form whilst capturing all the information the council requires to complete a pothole repair. So let's take a look. Here I'm filling out a customer service request that will generate a service call. Initially, I'm given the opportunity to provide information about the issue. So this includes the road surface, a brief or detailed description, location, and I'm also able to attach an image. Additionally, there are many rules that can be applied to these fields to cater to different requirements. For example, any combination can be made mandatory, attachments can have maximum file sizes, and much more. Next, I can populate my contact information as the customer, which can be stored and tracked against this service request as it progresses. Finally, my complaint has been registered, automatically and instantaneously triggering a service call to integrate with the WAM system. Let's now take a look at the automated work packaging performed in WAM. The work packaging performed in WAM is a completely automated process that uses the information obtained from the customer via CX and pre-built template work orders and template work activities to prepare work for scheduling and assignment. So, the information from CX tells WAM that a pothole needs to be repaired. WAM then identifies that for a pothole to be repaired, a work order must be created. And finally, the pre-built template work order is then used to automatically create said work order, which contains the activities or jobs required to repair the pothole. So let's take a look. As you can see on this service call screen, we have all the information from the original customer service request, like the description, the preferred contact details, the attachments, etc. Two components that are less obvious are this service category and service code. They are basically information captured in CX when the customer selects what type of service request they wish to complete. It is these two key pieces of information that enables WAM to identify what template work order to select when packaging the work. Therefore, if I go into the road repair service category, you can see the service code sits underneath it. This is important if you want multiple service codes to belong to a service category. Now, if I go into the service code, this is where it gets interesting. This service code screen shows me the automated processes, for example, a template work order, that can be triggered against the original service call made by the customer. So, when automation is deemed appropriate, the system will automatically assign the template work order, pothole repair, to the service call because it has the service code pothole. If I now go back into the service call and into the related documents screen, we can see the details of the work order that has been created under the service call. The key takeaway here is that no one has to assign work activities to a service call because the system can do it for you. So, if I click the drop down, we can see this work order was created as part of the service call. And in this work order, we have 3 activities. These work activities are what the field crew is actually assigned to do, and they are generated from the contents of the template work order. So, since the service call is for a pothole repair, we have all the necessary activities to complete that pothole repair from start to finish. If we were resurfacing a road, you might expect to see more work activities because it is simply a more complex job. When I go into the activity, you can see it was created because this template activity belongs to the service call. So, what is a template activity? It's essentially a template work order, but for a work activity, meaning you can estimate or predict the requirements associated of any one activity ahead of time, just as you can predict what activities will be needed to complete a pothole repair. On a side note, for a bit of context, you can create as many template work orders or template activities as you want to cater to any works you want automatically assigned to field crews. Here, I am searching for all existing templates in this system instance. Here, you can see many template work orders, which have any number of activities associated with them. And to go one step further, each activity would have resource requirements, labor requirements, equipment requirements, etc. associated with it. For example, if I go into the resources for this one, this activity has all the relevant components needed to complete the pothole repair. One resource for 2 hours, one piece of machinery for 2 hours, and some material. This shows the conceptual bill of material. And if we go into the cost screen of this work activity, we can see the estimated cost of this one activity is $298. The work done on the OFSC side, when the actual materials and equipment are used and the timesheets are calculated, would integrate back into WAM and be shown under this actual amount. Additionally, if any unforeseen costs arise, these can be added in manually by a works packager. So, to summarize, 3 work activities have been automatically created via a template work order after WAM received a customer service request from CX. These work activities have also been sent to OFSC automatically and are ready to be scheduled and assigned to a field crew. The next step in this process is automatic routing. The solution now puts all the activities that have come out of WAM into a bucket and can then schedule them accordingly. Based on geolocation, or more specifically, what depot the crew are starting from, or location of works from the previous activity, or the work priority, the system will automatically route the activities or jobs and put them into a sequence based on this. After this automated scheduling is complete, this is where a dispatcher working for council can move the jobs after the fact to suit additional requirements. Going one step further, if a dispatcher sees that a crew has been scheduled work overtime on any particular day, they can easily contact the team leader and confirm if this is acceptable. Additionally, any ad hoc or reactive works that come up can find gaps in a crew's schedule and can automatically be assigned when people are available. Or, if it's a high priority reactive job, it may take precedence and shuffle less urgent work to later in that day, or even to another team if they are closer geographically, or have the time in their schedule, etc. So let's have a look. This is the dispatch console. You have all your resources on the left-hand side, and the activities are shown on the grid table on the right. So the dispatcher can drag and drop the activities against any of the resources. You also have buckets with field resources distributed against your different operations. So this is an urban operations team, and all these resources are part of the team and can be assigned to this activity. You can also assign based on geographical location, locality, and priority. So if one of these potholes had a high criticality, the field user's schedule routing would reflect this. Additionally, the job could also be assigned to another crew that is closer to it. You can even apply rules such as, do I want to allow overtime if I have an asset or activity below a certain criticality? Effectively saying, if the job can wait for tomorrow, the council can choose to save resources. This rules-based functionality is critical for enabling council to define their approach and drive their way of working. So we are now assigning an activity to a resource. You have now seen how we can manually schedule and assign activities to a resource in the OFSC dispatch console. We will now see the field worker's perspective when completing the assigned work. More specifically, they will receive the activity on their mobile application, start the activity, complete all the necessary actions against the activity, capture data, and complete the activity. So let's have a look. This is the Oracle Field Service app that the field worker will have access to. Pat Mullen has been assigned all the work activities associated with the repair of the pothole. Additionally, the activities are assigned to him in the correct order for completion. Here we can see the structure of Pat Mullen's team. He is the team lead, and he has 2 additional resources assigned to him. For context, the work roster that displays this hierarchy comes from HR. And for the sake of this scenario, Pat Mullen and his team are capable of completing the traffic management, pothole repair, and road safety inspection. Additionally, this instance of the system is configured so only team leaders require access to the app. Now we can start the activity. However, before starting, if the activity requires the crew to fill out any specific checklists, like confined spaces, pre-start checklists, or a safe work method statement, etc., they can do so via the menu dropdown. Here we are filling out a risk assessment form by indicating the team, number of risks, the risks themselves, the consequences and likelihood of a risk eventuating, which automatically calculates a risk rating, and lastly, any risk mitigations. Also, the crews can still view PDFs of the original form from within the app. This utilizes a document management system by integrating it with OFSC. Essentially, the original forms have been made electronic, and they are all filed for safety back against the activity in WAM. We can then sign it as the team leader, and then as the following crew members. All forms that are to be submitted against the activity are kept in a forms history via the same menu dropdown. It's really important to have this information captured and easily accessible in case something does happen, so there is visibility of the procedures and measures taken in the lead up to it. Also, if additional team members have joined the activity or additional risks have been identified, the crew can always submit a new form to capture this information. Or you can save a draft of the form to come back to later and edit if you want. If you forget to submit the draft form when you go to complete the activity, as we'll see in a minute, you are reminded by a mandatory field to ensure no information is lost. Finally, when the activities are completed, these forms are attached to the work order that gets updated in WAM from the field service app and are stored in the service history of WAM forever. Alternatively, if a field crew wanted to look at the service history of an asset in the field, they can do so via the field service app due to its integration with WAM. From the crew's perspective when starting the activity, you can see that the start time can be changed, say if the previous job ran overtime, and this will shift all downstream activities back. Additionally, the start time and completion time of the activity will be captured along with the duration for the purpose of timesheeting against all participants. Next, the crew will have to lock the activity via the drop-down menu, which ensures no other crews or dispatchers can move the activity or interact with any of its details. This basically shows that the crew are now committed to working this activity. Once the crew have finished the activity, they can complete it via the same menu. Since they were performing an activity for traffic management, we can say that traffic cones have been set up for this scenario. As mentioned previously, the activities in this work order are sequential activities, which means you have to complete the first activity to move on to the next one. Again, this relates back to the structure in the work order template, which was pre-built in WAM following the Council's best practice method for a pothole repair. It's quite powerful because it gives the crews a simple way of seeing exactly what they need to do. So now we are on the pothole repair activity, the second activity in the template work order. As mentioned previously, the crew can access the asset to gain visibility of any asset information the Council deems necessary to hold against it. For example, adjacent assets, the service history, and planned service history. Now we are locking and completing the remaining activities, showing the exact perspective of the field crew. Also, once the work is completed, the system will automatically populate the timesheets, so staff don't have to. And since the team leader is there, they've essentially already approved it, so nobody has to manually approve any times, thus removing all admin work and leaving the crews to do what they do best, which is maintaining the asset. In summary, you have just seen the perspective of a field crew when starting and completing activities, adding service histories to assets, and you have also been informed as to how the timesheeting process fits in to all of it. This final process in the end-to-end works management solution all depends on how open and transparent the council wants to be with the customer. The customer can be informed by their preferred method of communication, and what they are being informed about is dependent on what you, the council, want to achieve. Now that all the content captured from Oracle's field service app by the field crew is stored in WAM, all WAM has to do is send it over to CX and store it against the customer's record. So in future, you know this customer has been diligent and identified potholes for us, and so the option to thank them or follow them up in our next interaction becomes available. Why is this important? Well, it creates a more interactive experience for the customer. This brings us back to our customer-centric focus. So, in this scenario, all the council wants to do is send out an automatic SMS to the customer, as this is their preferred contact method, telling them the work has been completed. Thank you for taking the time to watch this demonstration. We hope you now have a clear understanding of how Counterpart Solutions' SmaartCouncil product leverages Oracle systems to provide a seamless, end-to-end works management solution for councils.